So hi, welcome to my first video. I'll be showing you how to make a single flower corsage. It's really simple and easy, and it would save you a lot of money from buying a corsage from a florist. So let's get on with the video. So here's some materials that you need. You need a single flower, and I'm using carnation, but you could use a rose if you like to. And I already cut the stem to about 1/2 inch. And then you need some baby's breath as a filler flower for your corsage. And then you need some greenery. I'm using Italian ruscus, but you could use other greens if you want. Then you need some floral wire. I'm using 22 gauge wire, but I recommend using 24 and 26, and I will explain as to why later in the video. And then you would need some floral tape and some wire cutters and some scissors, and last but not least, some ribbon, and the size of it is 1.5 centimeters. And it's usually ribbon number 3. So we want to start off with our single flower first. So what you're going to do is you're going to fluff it out so it could be a little bit bigger and nice, and you want to cut the stem to about 1/2 inch, and I already did so. And you should use a floral knife, but I use scissors because I don't have a floral knife. So then you want to wire it. So you take your wire and you cut it in half. And we're going to be doing the double pierce method. And I'd suggest using the 24 gauge wire for this because it's not too thick or not too thin. It's like the perfect wire to use for it, so it wouldn't be that bulky. And so you will just want to pierce your wire through the calyx like so. Then once you get it through, you want to push the flower in towards the center, and then you take your other wire and you would pierce it in the opposite direction, making it look like a T or like a cross. Once you have your T shape or your cross, you want to bend down the wire so it would be a new stem like I'm doing right now, and then we're going to be taping it using the floral tape. So we're going to begin taping the flower. So you want to measure the tape to be a little longer than the length of your flower, and then you could just easily rip the tape off. It's not hard to. So now you want to start at the calyx where you insert your wire, and I'm just using my thumb to hold down the tape so I could go wrap it around. And you want to use your index finger and your thumb to run through the tape so it makes it sticky. It warms up the wax on it. And as you're going down, you want to pull the tape as well so it could become thinner, making the stem less bulky. And I'm working my way down. So a tip I have for you for taping to make it as smooth as possible, you want to hold the flower with your non-dominant hand. Well, mine is my left hand. And your other hand will be holding the tape between your index finger and your thumb, and that hand will be running the tape through and pulling it, while your other hand should be like twisting the flower so it would go down on an angle, making it thinner and smoother. So once you finish, and if you have a little wire left over like I do, you could just cut it off, because towards the end we're going to be cutting the stem anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And there you go, you have your flower. So now we're going to be adding some greens and the baby's breath. So I'm going to be using the Italian ruscus. I'm going to cut it because we're going to arrange it behind the flower. So I already cut my green, and I'm just gonna place it behind my flower to see what it would look like, and I think it's in proportion. So when you're making a corsage, keep in mind that you want the greens and the filler flower to be in proportion with the main flower, because if it's too big or too small, it doesn't really look right. So I've cut my baby's breath, and now I'm going to arrange it behind the flower as well. And the way I'm doing it, I'm going to have the baby's breath behind the flower while the green is behind the baby's breath. And you want the baby's breath to be a little higher than the flower, while the green is higher than the baby's breath. And as you can see, I'm just trying to see what would look right with it before I tape it to the flower. So now that you got your baby's breath and your greens in place of how you want it to be, you're gonna tape it to the flower. And I'm gonna be doing this off camera, so I'll be right back. So after you've gotten the baby's breath and your green taped together, this is what it should look like. And now we're going to be creating a bow. So grab your ribbon, and I'm using sheer ribbon, and because it's easier to use, and personally I'm not really that good at bows. But if you're using a solid color type of ribbon, then you're going to have to create twists in the bows, so that way the shiny side is showing. But for this type of ribbon, you could just do regular loops and it wouldn't matter, because the two sides are the same and it would look nice either way. So now to create a bow, we're going to make a loop, and you want to hold it in between your index finger and your thumb, and using the other tail end of where your ribbon is going towards you make another loop, and then on the other side, and you keep making those loops and like stacking it and holding it in between your thumb and index finger like so. And I'm going to be creating 6 loops in total, and you want at least 3 on each side, but you create more if you would like. And then after that, this is what it should look like. And then you're going to take wire. I recommend using 26 gauge wire because it's the thinnest and the best for a bow. So you would just take your wire and place it in between your thumb and slide it in. That way, because we're going to be securing the room to hold it together. And then you're going to take all your loops and you're going to push it to one side and scrunch it up, and you're going to pull the ribbon down, and you're going to twist as tight as you can. And the tighter it is, the less you could see the wire in between. And it's really hard to do so, but just try to get it as tight as possible and just make a few twists. So this is what it should look like afterwards, and it's all scrunched up, but we will fix it and fluff it out later. So now you want to take the tail end and you want to like bring it over to the other side, and then you should cut it but keep it long, so later you could trim it later. And it should look something like this now. And now you just want to fluff out your loops so it could be fluffier and it doesn't look all scrunched up anymore, as I'm doing right now. So now we're going to place the ribbon onto the flower. So I'm just gonna untwist it a little bit and split up the wire apart so we could place it on, because I twisted it a little bit too much and you want it just twisted a little bit. And now we're just gonna try to place it on the flower, and you want to put it in front of the flower and in the middle of the calyx. So once you got your wire split, just place it in front of the flower, and once you got it placed, twist the wire so it's now attached to the stem of it, and the remaining wire just pull it down towards the stem like I'm doing right now. And then you're just going to tape it, but right now just fix your bow so it looks in the front and it doesn't look off like I'm doing right now. And I'm just gonna place the tails to hide the wire you see in the middle of the bow. So now that you got your bow how you want it to be placed, there's some wire at the bottom, so we're just going to cover it up by taping it with the floral tape. And floral tape is mainly to hide wire, and that's what we're going to do. And we want to hide the wire so it doesn't poke the person, if the person who is wearing it, and you want it to look nice like it's a real stem. So this is how it should look, and we are almost done, but right now the stem is a little bit too long, so we're going to trim it, and we want it to trim it to look about 3 inches. So I'm going to be cutting it with using my wire cutters. So after you cut it, there's like a little wire on the bottom and it could potentially poke someone, so we're gonna cover it up with just a little bit of floral tape like I'm doing right now. So after you're done, it should look something like this. And now we're gonna trim the tails of the bow so it's nice and proportionate to the corsage. So this is the final product, and I hope you like it, and thank you for watching. See you next time.